The Florida real estate bubble isn't just leaking, it's bursting wide open, unleashing a catastrophic wave that's shaking the entire Sunshine State to its core. What's unfolding across these 12 critical markets isn't a mild correction or a passing dip. It's a full-scale collapse that's already outpacing the infamous crash of 2008. In just the last 6 months, property values in key regions have plunged by as much as 28%, with some luxury sectors nosediving up to 35%. But here's the real shocker. According to top market analysts and hedge fund managers tracking these trends, this may only be the beginning. Expert forecasts suggest potential declines could reach 40% by the end of the year, and that's before factoring in surging insurance costs and tightening climate risk assessments. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into Florida's rapidly shifting real estate landscape. And what you're about to hear isn't just another market recap. It's a comprehensive breakdown of a perfect storm that's been building for years. Skyrocketing insurance premiums, historic climate risk reevaluations, a mass exodus of foreign investors, and dramatic shifts in population patterns that are fundamentally reshaping Florida's housing market. Before we examine specific regions, let's step back and look at the macro picture. Property insurance rates in high-risk Florida zones have skyrocketed by an average of 238% in just the past 18 months. Since 2022, more than 15 major insurance carriers have either pulled out of the state or declared insolvency. Foreign investment, which once accounted for 21% of all luxury property purchases, has cratered by 60% year over year. Meanwhile, new mortgage applications in these 12 critical markets are down a staggering 43% from last year. Number 10. Jacksonville's South Side. We begin in Jacksonville's South Side. Once hailed as Florida's rising tech hub, today it's a cautionary tale every investor needs to hear. Strolling these streets now, you'll see something unthinkable just a year ago. Rows of for sale signs sitting idle in front of homes that once sparked bidding wars overnight. The numbers here paint a grim picture. Median home prices have fallen 12% since January, while inventory levels have exploded 178% year over year, creating a massive oversupply that's crushing prices across every segment. Homes that used to sell within 22 days are now lingering for 89 days or longer. New construction has come to a standstill, with 63% of projects frozen midway as developers struggle with financing and evaporating buyer demand. The area's once booming tech sector has been hit hard too. Major employers have downsized by an average of 34%, triggering a ripple effect throughout the housing market. Young professionals who once flocked here are now leaving in droves, and rental vacancies have skyrocketed from 4% to 17.7% in just 6 months. Combine that with coastal insurance premiums spiking 44%, and you're looking at a market undergoing a complete structural reset. Number 9. Naples. Next up, Naples, our number 10 market, and perhaps the most striking example of luxury market collapse Florida has seen since 2008. Once a magnet for the world's wealthy, Naples is now experiencing what local veterans call the Great Luxury Exodus. Here's the reality. Homes priced above $1 million have fallen an average of 28%, while ultra-luxury listings are being slashed by up to 40%. New listings are flooding in at a record pace, up 156% year over year, signaling widespread panic selling. Investment property vacancies are up 47%, while luxury condo rents have plunged 23% as high-end demand dries up. But this isn't just market psychology, it's environmental and financial reality. Updated climate risk assessments have downgraded large sections of Naples' coastline, leading to stricter lending standards and spiraling insurance costs nearly tripling in some areas. To make matters worse, foreign investors, who once made up 35% of Naples' luxury buyers, have now dropped to just 12% in the last quarter. Number 8. Orlando. Heading inland to the heart of Florida, the Orlando Tourism Corridor, our number 9 market, offers a grim look at what happens when a region depends too heavily on a single industry. Once considered recession-proof, the area around Orlando's theme parks is now in steep decline. Property values have fallen 19% from their peak, and the commercial sector is unraveling fast. Vacancy rates in commercial spaces have surged from 7% to 24% over the past 18 months, while hotel-adjacent properties are being sold at up to 30% discounts. Nearly 43% of vacation rentals here are now losing money. Average daily rates have collapsed from $289 to $179, barely covering costs. Foreclosures have spiked 112% year over year, with investment properties leading the trend. Construction has nearly halted, as new permits are down 82%, and developers have shelved or canceled more than $2.8 billion in planned projects due to financing and demand concerns. Number 7. Fort Myers. At number 6, Fort Myers is still reeling from hurricane recovery, but its troubles go far beyond storm damage. Property values are down 25% year over year, with some neighborhoods seeing even sharper declines. Nearly half, 47% of rebuilt homes are struggling to sell, often listed 30 to 40% below pre-storm prices. Insurance availability is nearing crisis level. Only 3 carriers are still writing new policies in the region. Lending restrictions now affect 38% of properties, freezing transactions and leaving both sellers and buyers stuck in limbo. Number 6. Tampa Bay. Now to Tampa Bay, our 8th market of concern, where what was once seen as a safe haven is now in full retreat. Insurance premiums in flood zones have exploded 215%, pushing longtime residents to sell and scaring off new buyers. New construction permits are down 68%, and several large projects have been abandoned mid-build. Median home prices are down 17.7%, with flood-prone areas seeing declines closer to 25%. And it's not just insurance. Tampa faces enormous infrastructure challenges, with upgrades expected to cost $4 billion over the next decade. Recent studies show 28% more properties now fall into high-risk flood zones compared to 2 years ago. That reclassification alone has set off a chain reaction. Higher insurance, plunging property values, and collapsing buyer demand. Number 5. Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County's coastal region, number 4 on our list, perfectly illustrates the luxury coastal squeeze. Prices in high-end segments have fallen 24%. The true story is hidden beneath the surface. Flood insurance costs have surged 312%, rendering many properties practically unsellable. Property tax appeals are up 189%, with 73% success rates, confirming rapidly shrinking values. Foreign buyers have all but vanished. International purchases are down 82% from their peak, while 42% of coastal properties now face lending restrictions tied to climate risk. Number 4. St. Petersburg. Our 3rd most concerning market, St. Petersburg's downtown, is a textbook case of how quickly multiple risks can converge. Condo values have tumbled 26%, and the decline continues. Insurance spikes have flooded the market with listings, leading to an overwhelming supply glut. New development projects worth $1.2 billion have been halted at 42% completion, and storm surge reassessments have pushed premiums up 275% in key zones. Meanwhile, property owners face mounting infrastructure expenses, estimated at $83 per square foot over the next 5 years, making many units financially unsustainable. Number 3. Miami. Our 5th market, Miami's downtown and Brickell area, tells a story of oversupply and hard correction. Condo prices have dropped 20% on average, but luxury towers are seeing losses up to 35%. Foreign investment pullback has accelerated. New development cancellations are up an astonishing 234%. Luxury condo inventory has ballooned to 42 months of supply, compared to just 8 months a year ago. HOA fees have surged 127% in some buildings due to skyrocketing insurance. Even newer high-rises are showing cracks, literally, with 31% of recent constructions reporting major maintenance issues tied to their floor-to-ceiling glass designs. Number 2. Fort Lauderdale Beach, our 2nd most critical market. Fort Lauderdale's beach area has become ground zero for Florida's real estate meltdown. Prices have collapsed 27% from their peak, with some sectors hit even harder. But the real crisis is in insurance. Average annual premiums have exploded from $4,800 to $18,500 in beachfront zones. A shocking 42% of owners now pay more in insurance than in mortgage payments, and 28% have lost coverage entirely, forced onto the costly state-backed Citizens Plan, often at rates 40% higher than before. King tide flooding is now routine. 64% of beachfront properties saw some degree of tidal flooding last year, up from 23% just 5 years ago. The city's $1.8 billion flood mitigation plan has divided the community, with potential $45,000 special assessments per unit looming. Foreclosures have exploded 267% year over year. And unlike 2008, these aren't bad loans. They're strategic defaults by high-net-worth owners walking away from untenable costs. Number 1. West Palm Beach. And finally, we reach number 1, the most concerning market in Florida's modern real estate history. Luxury prices haven't just corrected, they've crashed by 28%, with ultra-luxury properties down as much as 45%. Over 73% of planned developments have been canceled or indefinitely paused, representing more than $4.2 billion in stalled construction. Sales data shows 82% of luxury homes now selling below their 2022 prices, with average losses around 32%. The market for 5 million-plus homes has virtually frozen. Only 3 transactions closed last quarter, compared to 47 during the same period last year. The insurance situation is dire. 7 major carriers have exited the market in just 18 months. In flood zones, annual insurance now equals up to 4% of property value, making many homes effectively uninsurable. A full 34% of owners are now operating at negative cash flow once all costs are factored in. Recent engineering reports reveal serious vulnerabilities in 42% of coastal properties, with repair costs estimated at $2.3 billion total, meaning individual assessments between $80,000 and $250,000 per unit. So what does all this mean for investors and homeowners? Let's break down the drivers and implications behind Florida's unfolding real estate transformation. Number 1. The insurance crisis. 78% of affected properties have seen total carrying costs double. Insurance now accounts for 25 to 40% of monthly ownership costs. Only 3 private insurers remain active in high-risk zones, while state-backed programs near capacity. Number 2. Climate risk factors. 47% of coastal properties now face lending restrictions. Flood zone expansions have added 38% more properties to high-risk designations since 2020. Infrastructure upgrades average $112 per square foot, and insurance deductibles often exceed $50,000.